Really, it's just our deck or bag building because we don't have any pool building games. We don't even really know what that means. So that's about the size of it. Let us know in the comments. What's a pool building game? Hey folks, welcome to the Flipside. I'm Sam.
I'm JT.
And this is our top 5 deck, bag, or pool building games. Pool?
Are there any games that actually have that fame? Building a pool?
Well, I don't know about
Building
that.
a swimming pool?
I would imagine it's probably.
I don't think so.
I don't know. I actually came up with my average for both halves of the list.
Oh, you did?
I did. My bottom 5 had a 2.39 average. And this list, the top 5, has a 2.2. So the bottom half of my list is filled with heavier games, which makes sense.
Well, my total average was 2.83, but the top half would be 3.1, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah, probably 3.1-ish.
My heaviest game, and this is all out of 5, by the way. We keep forgetting to say that. We kind of assume that you know
3.1 out of 10.
Yeah, super light. 3.05 was my heaviest out of both lists. My lightest out of both lists was a 1.69, and it is actually on this half, which is probably why this one's tracking a little bit lower than the other. A little bit of a spoiler. We had 3 crossovers already.
Yep, and then we have a possibility of 1 more.
Possibility of 1 more, eh?
Yep.
Yeah, we might have 1, maybe 2.
Ooh, I like it.
Maybe 2. Let's get to it. Our top 5 deck and bag building games.
Right on.
All right, my number 5 is the lightest game on my list, and this is called Century Golem Edition. Now, you might have been waiting for me to say Spice Road. No, sir. 2 reasons. Artwork, components. Those 2 reasons make me a Golem Edition fan over a Spice Road Edition fan.
Sure.
The games
100%.
are absolutely, well, I am pretty sure they are absolutely the same as far as what you're doing and how you're doing it, but you're dealing with magical golems and awesome artwork in one, and you're trading spices on a desert road on the other one. So
Difference between a bunch of plastic crystals and
wooden cubes.
Yep.
That is correct. In Century Golem Edition, you are basically trying to manage your resources by building your deck. And your deck, you're able to play a card, and your card will allow you to do things. It'll let you trade crystals and trade 3 of these for 1 or 2 of these, or get a whole bunch of this kind of crystal. And there's a hierarchy of crystals in the game. What you're doing, the deck building, is you're building your deck of cards that allow you to do those certain things, that allow you to build an engine that helps you learn how to, I don't know the exact theming here, but you're trying to reawaken these different golems that are in the land and get them to help you in your business or something to that effect. And so the golems are what are going to give you the points at the end of the game, but the resources that you're gathering by building the proper cards into your deck so that you can use that engine to gather those resources is where the deck building is. It's really kind of the central mechanism. And what you do with those resources is just the point gathering. It's a really fun game. Comparatively, I do want to say it that way, it's a very simple game. It is just a 1.69 out of 5 complexity. But it's very fun. The teenagers in our family, they've all really enjoyed this, and this is the game. This will kind of put it into perspective for you. They will take this game and go teach their friends how to play it.
Yep.
They won't do that with all the games that we have, and they won't do that even with all the games we take to game night, which is generally a very low complexity affair.
Sure.
But they will do it with Century Golem Edition. So that's my number 5.
Right on.
Yep.
My number 5, as far as I'm concerned, it's a classic, although there's 100 different versions of it now.
Uh-oh.
No, there's not 100 different versions, but there are a few different versions, and this is Clank.
Clank.
Specifically, Clank, the space version. I can't even think of the name of it right now, but
I
in
never.
space. How's that?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. And that's how I remember it. I remember it from the Muppets. Clank in pigs in space.
But anyways, in Clank, you are trying to, or Clank in Space, or Clank Catacombs, you're trying to delve into something, whether it's a spaceship or down into the earth, to find relics or, expensive artifacts, and to bring them back up before you get killed by whoever runs the joint, the dragon or
the ship captain.
Yeah, what's his name? Not Insidious. I want to call him Insidious, but that's not it.
I don't remember.
But anyways, and we've been playing Catacombs lately, and the expansion for Catacombs, by the way, is add some monsters in there, monster rooms.
Legacy Clank is awesome as well.
Clank Legacy is awesome as well, and Clank Legacy 2 is coming out soon, so I thought I'd have it already. This would have moved way up the list if I'd been playing that right now. But anyways, Clank is a great game. You are delving down. On your turn, your cards either have movement, or they have attack, or they have buying power, basically, and they have a bunch of different abilities. So you're going to be able to move in the dungeon, you're going to be able to fight monsters in the dungeon, and you're going to be able to go to the card row and pick up new cool companions and items and stuff like that will help you get through the dungeon as quick as you can before the dragon kills you. So, and the whole while in all of the Clanks, you're making noise, and
hence the word clank,
making the bad guy mad while he tries to attack you and kill you before you get back out. But I love this game. I love how they nod to all different kinds of, in all of them, in the space version, in the Clank, in all of them they have little Easter eggs for all kinds of different IPs and things like that. It's really, really cool. It's awesome how much work they put into that.
I absolutely agree.
That's my number 5.
Very good pick. Very good pick indeed. Such a good pick. It should have been higher.
Oh, yeah?
Like mine, Clank in Space, number 4. That is exactly everything he said. Main thing for this one, I really enjoy Clank, period. Until I played it with Roy. Roy ruined Clank Legacy for me because he's so freaking good at it.
Bad Roy.
He's so good at it. He didn't ruin it. I'm really
bad Roy.
Talking tongue-in-cheek here. But Clank by itself is a great way to do deck building. Because you're not just building your deck, which is what Dominion is for me. You're doing it for a purpose. I'm going down this track, and I know I'm going to need this much movement, or I know I'm going to need this much attack, or whatever. I need to get more buying power. So that's what generates or drives what cards I'm adding to my deck. That makes more sense to me. The fantasy theme was neither here nor there for me. I thought it was cool. It was much better than Dominion, don't get me wrong. But the space one is really where it kind of hit for me. And then it's because of all of those Easter eggs and nods to all of the different IPs that are very popular in space and sci-fi. Just a super, super great implementation. On top of that, the portals or the transporters, I think is what the teleporters, where you can move from one area to the next. Loved that mechanism. Also loved the gates. And you had to find keys for the gates to get through, and you couldn't go past those areas. I felt that was a really cool, not really a catch-up mechanism, but it felt like it.
So the first Clank was a little too easy, a little too light, and a little too straightforward, right?
You could zip down really fast.
Zip down, and you could run out if you had the right card combinations come out in the market just for you. But the space version solved that by making there more objectives than just one.
Correct.
And Catacombs solves that because now you've actually got to explore. You don't know the direct path.
You don't know exactly where everything is.
Both of those made that a lot more interesting.
Yes, absolutely agreed. Great pick, though. My number 4, his number 5. Clank in Space.
In Catacombs. No, that's not it. Okay. All right, well, that's a good pick. And our last crossover, I think, but I'd be
well, no, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
All right, well, my number 4 is my second bag builder on this list. And this one took me a while to get to the table, although I've had it for a while. And now that I've got it at the table a couple of times, I really love it. I knew I would love it anyways. But this is Wonderland's War.
Oh,
Wonderland's War is an amazing game. I love it so much. It comes in 2 phases. The first phase is you're going around the Mad Hatter's table and you're picking up cards. And as you're picking up these cards, the cards are going to have maybe different Wonderlandians you get, or different chips that you got to put in that might be items, or might be Wonderlandian tools, or might be forge tools. You're getting all of these different kinds of chips into your bag. And then after you've gone around the table and everybody's gotten a certain amount of cards, everybody is going to add chips, which are, they're not Discord chips, they're like Madness chips into your bag. And whoever, as you go around, you're going to get these little Madness like crystals. And if you go around too much, you get more and more Madness crystals. Or if you get
little Cthulhu in there.
Yep. Or if you get like greedy and big powerful cards, you might get some Madness crystals. Well, whoever has the most Madness crystals has to take an extra Madness token. So those can build up, and then they're like the white things in, you don't want those popping out.
Yes.
And then you're going to go to 5 different areas, and you're going to use your bag, and you're going to area control those 5 areas.
Gotcha.
So you're going to go back in there, and you're going to start pulling out your tools and your class-specific guys and everything else, and you're going to try to win those area controls. Cool. And get the special abilities on the chips as you go. There's just just a really, really cool mechanic, a really, really cool game.
And this is one of those ones you super blinged out too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. This one is beautiful. It's got, the blinged out version. The deluxe version has little poker chips. They're all poker chips. Mm-hmm. All the chips that go in. It's just a beautiful game. It has a really cool mechanic, and it's just really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really love this one.
That's
Wonderland's
good.
War.
I haven't played it yet. I want to though.
I can't
it
wait
looks
to
awesome.
play it more and more and more, but it's awesome.
Very cool. All right, my number 3 is a game that I don't know if it's going to be on your list or not, but it's the other possibility that maybe it's on your list. But I think it's probably too light to be your number 1 or 2. But I really like the deck building in this one because you are trying to manage the level of heat that you have in your deck.
Copy that.
Heat, pedal to the metal. And this deck building mechanism of what you put into your deck and what you, how you can get the heat out of your deck, but you don't want to get, you want some heat in there because you don't want to run out of heat here, and it's how you manage the heat and get it out and put it back in, and knowing when to take some heat is really where I kind of think this game meets,
absolutely.
The rubber meets the road,
yeah.
No pun intended.
Playing the edge of your,
pushing your engine to its limit. And generating that heat, but then being able to cycle it back out and get your engine to cool down. That's really where this kind of sings for me. And I haven't played any of the tournaments or the campaign.
Championship.
Yeah, the championship where you can go into the what is it called, the shop or something like that, and kind of make modifications. I haven't gone that far. I know it's there. I just haven't played it, but I can imagine that is just kind of like the cream of the crop as far as the deck building is concerned. It really makes it much better. I like it just base game, but I'm sure that championship tournament mode just ratchets it up really, really high. That's my number 3, Heat. Pedal to the metal.
Yeah, I didn't consider Heat as a deck building game because you have all of your cards you're ever going to have pretty much at the beginning of the game, and you're really just hand managing in for the most part, unless you spin out, and then you're going to get more of that.
Yes.
Of that other one, but the nervous card. It's not called the nervous card. Well, whatever. I can't remember what that card is called.
Stress.
The one that gives you the plus or minus.
Yeah.
And you just have to pull another.
It's your stress cards. I think that's what they're called. Stress cards.
I don't remember. But anyways, that's the only one that you really add in. But I get it. It's a great game. So
Yeah.
no worries. All right, my
I like
number.
it.
Yep, I love it.
And it fits the category. The geek says so.
The geek's wrong. My number 3 is a follow-up of Clank, just because Paul Denon did it, Direwolf did it, and it's called Dune Imperium. I'm going to put Uprising on the back of this, just so people quit asking me.
I will do it, and I do it in post
We'll
anyway.
say this one, Dune
It'll at least be in
Imperium,
parentheses.
Uprising.
It's right here.
You can put it there
right
now. Just
Yeah.
put the new cover on there. Anyways, Dune Imperium as a fantastic deck builder. It's one of those, just like Clank, and you kind of said it very well in that one, that you're doing something with those cards.
Right.
They're not just, it's not quite as simple as just deck building. It's actually you're taking in those cards for the abilities that are on them, for the ability at the end, that if you leave it till the end of your hand and you do your reveal, you'll have a reveal effect. You might want the reveal effect. You might want the during gameplay ability. But you're also doing it for the locations that you can actually put your meeples to when you play that card. Those are very, very important.
Yeah.
And if I've made this mistake several times in this game where, I'm building and I'm getting a lot of cool cards. But those cool cards really aren't giving me good places to go on the map. They have great abilities, and I've fallen into that trap a couple times. You really have to watch and make sure that you have the places for your workers to go. Because this is basically a worker placement game fed by that deck building. So I really love this game. The mechanics are so tight and so intricately wound together in such a nice way. So, but that is my number 3. Dune Imperium Uprising.
Cool beans. All right, my number 2 is not the only. It's one that and I probably should have talked about this with Heat, because I think Heat does have deck building, but it's not during the game.
During the game, yeah.
It is like in between if you're playing tournament or championships.
Sure.
Or it's before the game starts if you want to use some of those different upgrades and all that kind of stuff. So, and that's kind of a category of deck building that usually kind of sits off to itself.
Yeah, agreed.
Off by itself.
Agreed.
My number 2 is in that category. It is still deck building. And a lot of other cards, trading card games, collectible card games, they will fall into this same category, which I largely don't venture into. But Warhammer Underworlds, Shadespire, whatever box set you have, Warhammer Underworlds is the thing. Is definitely a deck builder. How much deck building you want to do, how far down that rabbit hole, if I may use that Wonderland's War terminology, you want to go is completely up to you, because they do have decks that you can start with, and then you can modify those decks, and you can absolutely disintegrate the decks and then build the deck that you want. And that's where the deck building happens. It happens before the game, not during the game. And so that's an important clarification. In my opinion, you're doing the same thing, you're just doing it at different times and in different ways. So I get it if you disagree with me. It's my list. So back up off me. I'm just kidding.
there's definitely a truth to that, because it's definitely deck building.
Sure.
And in that way, Heat is the same, just like you said. It's just two different. Are you deck building inside the game, or are you deck building prior to the game? So, and I love deck building prior to the game. You guys know that about me, so I can't complain.
Yeah, well, I mean, here's, and again, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just furthering the point. If you take this game, Warhammer Underworlds, which is my pick, and you compare it to Super Fantasy Brawl. Super Fantasy Brawl, you don't do any deck building at all. It's absolute just, these are the decks that this character has, good luck.
Yep.
And well, you mash the 3 together and good luck.
Sure.
This one, you kind of can do the same thing. Here's your starting deck, go have fun. Or you can take all of these other cards that come with the starting deck and take some out, put these in, all this other kind of stuff. This is one of the only games that I enjoy as a deck builder in this right. I generally stay away from collectible card games and trading card games just because of the money pit that they are. So this is about as far down that rabbit hole that I want to go.
I feel like he's pointing his finger at me.
I am not.
With the big knee.
I am not. I am not. They don't know. They don't know. Why are you outing yourself?
They know.
But that's my number 2, Warhammer Underworlds, and you fill in the blank after that. There's a lot of different sets that you can buy, but Warhammer Underworlds is the system. That's my number 2.
Nice. All right. My number 2 is a fantastic deck building game with some really cool mechanics that not very many other deck building games use, and it's called Aeon's End. Specifically, if you want to pick one, Aeon's End Legacy of Graveholt, which is kind of the pinnacle of the Aeon's End system, in my opinion. But in Aeon's End, you take on a wizard, or you take on a mage. They're mages, sorry. You take on a mage, and you have a basic set of cards.
Stop. What's the difference between a wizard and a mage?
A wizard is in Lord of the Rings.
No.
A mage.
A wizard arrives precisely when he means to.
That's exactly right. You take on a mage, and you take on your basic cards, which has a little bit of crystals, a little bit of buying power, and a couple of light spells to use. The game has a couple of really cool mechanics. The first thing, the buying of this, there are 9 cards in the card market, and those 9 cards aren't going to change for a scenario. But you get to pick those 9 cards. You can pick those 9 cards. Some of them, like if you have a specific scenario, it'll tell you what those are. But you'll have crystals in there to buy, which will give you more buying power. You'll have different spells in there, and you'll also have some relics in there that'll give you a couple of different abilities. So you're buying from this 9-card deal. But as you buy cards, as you spend cards, they go into your discard pile one at a time. When your draw pile is empty, you just flip your discard pile over and you keep on going. So there's a very nice mechanic in how you sequence what your cards, how you want to sequence the cards as you put them in there, because you're going to see them come in that sequence later.
Right.
The other cool thing about this game is you have 4 portals above your mage, and you have to open your portals to get spells, because you have to cast your spells through these portals basically at the bad guy. The tricky thing is you have to time your spells properly, because I'm going to put my spells up here to cast, but they don't cast until my turn comes around. So there's no there is some instantaneous damage, but a lot of the damage is coming soon type of thing. So you really have to plan those things out. This is a fantastic game. There's a ton of content out there for it. Anyways, my number 2, Aeon's End. Aeon's End, Legacy of Graveholt.
Cool. Very cool. My number 1. A lot of people have hated on this game, and they've called the deck building aspect just meh. And I mean, it's my number 1, and I seriously disagree with them. I think it largely determines how well your deck synergizes with itself. Choosing what cards to put in your deck, and there's a lot of resource management in it. It was actually in our resource management.
Are you picking Blood Rage for this?
Negative. Absolutely not. No.
I was like, what?
No, this is not. Blood Rage is not.
You're ready to see Blood Rage in my face. I'm just kidding.
No, this is called After Us. After Us is a game where you have a hand of primates, and you are using those primates to try to attract new primates. But the cards that you have in your deck are going to be those things that help you generate the resources that you can use to attract those other monkeys. You can attract baboons, orangutans, gorillas, or I can't remember what they're called. Primates, fine, whatever. The regular monkeys.
Chimpanzees.
Chimpanzees. Thank you very much.
So regular, boring monkeys.
Those are the 4 kinds of monkeys that you're trying to gather into your tribe. But they also have their own things that they are better at producing. Orangutans are very good at producing batteries. I don't know. Are they the smartest ones?
I
have no idea. But anyway, baboons are good at generating victory points, or mandarins, not baboons. Gorillas are what you would think they are. They're they will help you build your rage. There's the connection.
There it is.
So that you can start culling some of the cards out of your deck. And then the chimpanzees are basically good at a lot of different things. So they're kind of like the jacks of all trades. And what combination of those cards you have in your deck really help determine, in large part, how fast you're going to get around the table. Because that's what it is. It's a race to 80 points. And whoever gets to 80 points first will end the game. Whoever has the most points at the end of the game is the winner.
How many of the points are either poop or bananas?
None of them.
Oh.
They are the new breed.
All right.
We are gone. They are no
they don't
longer
eat bananas.
Well, I'm sure they probably eat bananas.
They no longer defecate.
But like they're making banana splits now.
Okay.
They're not just eating bananas.
All right.
Anyway, I really enjoy this game. I really enjoy the deck building in this game and the resource management in this game. It all is very, very good. Really enjoy it. And Vincent Dutrait's artwork.
It's
my number
coming.
one after us.
Right on. My number one is the smoothest. No, okay. We're just going to jump right into it. My number one is The Witcher Old World.
Ooh.
In The Witcher Old World, you are deck building for a couple of reasons. You are deck building for the abilities on the cards, but typically you're deck building for combat.
Because the rulebook tells you to.
Because the rulebook tells you to. You are deck building for combat. You're gaining cards every round. But you're also, at the beginning of your turn, you're going to take 3 cards and you're going to use those for movement. So they either give you movement or when they're used separately in combat. But you're moving around the map. You're going from place to place. You're leveling up your abilities. You're fighting monsters. You're gambling. You're doing all these kind of things. But when you get into combat is the coolest portion, because the size of your deck also indicates how many hit points you have, basically. So it's hard to cull a card from this. Even though you know it's a weaker card, you're still getting rid of hit points to do so. And you will do that. So you're having to balance and keep your deck at a decent amount so that you have the hit points necessary to do combat. And then the cool thing way combat works is you're going to pull off your deck and you're going to have your hand. As you play them out, you can play 1 to however many cards you have, as long as they chain together and they have all these little flag symbols on them. So you're trying to build your deck so that you have good chain attacks, because how much damage you do depends on how many cards come off the enemy's deck. And when they come off their deck, you know, if he has 10 health and you do 6 damage, he loses 6 cards, and then he's going to attack you with the next one. So you know, his health is always dwindling down. But if I do a big 4-hit combo, that's 4 of my hit points that are gone. And when I draw back up, you know, I'm also lowering my health at the same time. It's a very interesting mechanic. It's very cool. You're building combos. You're getting really cool abilities with these cards. And you're trying to cull intelligently and maintain your health. So I really love this game.
That's cool.
But the deck is your life.
I agree. It's a super good game. I love a lot of the different aspects of it, but what he's talking about is absolutely true. And it's a mechanism I didn't ever really wrap my head around.
It's a really neat mechanism.
2 times that I played the game, just couldn't wrap my head around it. But it's a neat mechanism, and I think with more play, I'd really enjoy it.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not like the best cards are always going to drop for you. It's still the deck builder.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep.
All right, well, that is our top 5. We had no less than 4 crossovers out of 10 games.
That's the first time in a year.
That is something else. That is something else. So let us know here in the comments. Give us a like and subscribe. Hit that bell icon so that you can know when we have more videos coming out here on the channel. But let us know in the comments, what are your favorite deck building, bag building, or pool building games?
Please.
And by the way, please, let us know what pool building is. I mean, he's a general contractor. I mean, he knows what's going on.
Shotcrete and concrete.
Yeah, we don't understand what pool building
chemicals
is in board games.
I think it's just anytime you bring a bunch of stuff together, I don't know.
You're building a pool of stuff.
Building a pool.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys and gals right here. On the flip side, take care.
See you in the pool.